Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. Hope you are doing great. My name is Ram and today we are going to discuss about the permission in Linux, how we can manage the permissions in Linux. So let's get started about the permissions. So we are going to discuss, so before going to the permissions and ownership, we should have the understanding of the users, right? What is user, what is group, and what is other. So user, group and others are nothing else. They are just like the any user is the owner of that file who creates it. Just like the by default the person who will be creating the file become automatically its owner. Hence the user is also sometimes called the owner. Group can contain multiple users. Just we can say a group of users. So all users belong to that group will have the same Linux permission access to the file. And others, any other available user apart from the user, owner user and the owner group are known as others. So these things is categorized user, group and other. Let's understand the ownership point of view. So when you will see on the permissions, right? So we will have the user, group and other. So these permissions are divided with the three characters: read, write and execute. So let's dive into that how the things will be and how we can change the ownership. So user, group and ownership can change on the Linux command. We will also do the practicals. So these are some of these, just like this changing user ownership. So if you want to change the user ownership, then we have the command csown, new username, new owner username or the file name. If you want to change the group ownership, then what we have a command csgrp, new group name and a file name. If you want to combinedly change the user and group ownership, then we have the command syntax chown, user, group and file name. So this is the syntax and the command to change the user and group ownership. We can also let's have a look on the just like the let's see, we have nothing. Let me create a directory and a file ar1 and touch file 1. Okay, so we have sec here. So this is the owner of this file, means to say that when the file created, so this file is created by default the ec2 user. So this ec2 user is the owner of this file and this directory, right? Second, this column shows the owner group, just like the by default whenever you are going to create a user, right? So it will have the default primary group. So this is the group ownership. So by default this group associated with this directory or file which have the access on this file and directory. So this is the group here showing. So this is the owner and this is the group. Okay, this D denotes the, just like this is permissions part, we will talk about later, but just like the we are talking about the ownership right now. So just like if we want to change the owner, right, just like the let me have whether I have the users or not. Okay, I have user 1 and user 2 is the okay, so other users are there. Let me see. Right now we have this ec2 user as a owner, but now I want to change the chown and the user 1, right, user 1 to this directory dir. Okay, so if you will see here that user 1 has been changed because we have executed this chown command, right? And this command used for changing the ownership of any directory and file. So as we have discussed about the syntax, right, chown command, new username, new owner name and the directory or file name. In the same manner, if you want to change the permission, this ownership for the file, we can also run the same command chown user. Let me do this time 2 and file 1, right? So it has changed to user 2. If I want to change the the group ownership, then let me have a look on that whether we have any groups or not. Okay, so just like I have the secondary group which I have created, and I can also create any another one. So to add new group, right? Okay, so right now we have the EC2 user on this group associated with directory, but we want to change the group ownership of this directory. Then we have command csgrp change group, the new group name, new group, and the file name. Okay, so this has been changed here automatically. In the same manner, you can also do for the directory as well. It has been changed. Now the third things comes to us that let me create the directory 2 and file 2. Okay. Now what we have, if we want to we want to change the user and group code in the single command, then what we have the ch own and the username, right? So user1 colon group name, so new group to file 1 or file 2. Oh, sorry, I had to run the sudo command here. Okay. Okay, within the single command we have changed the user ownership as well as the group ownership, right? So this is all about the changing and managing of the group owner or group or ownership. Now let's talk about the permissions, right? And how permissions works in Linux. So before we focus on the permissions, we should have understanding to identify the objects, that what object is that. So most of the time you will find the D hyphen and L. So this hyphen denotes this is a file, D denotes this is a directory, and L denotes this is a link. So this is the things we have to be considered during reading the permissions and the security in the Linux. Then next come to the understanding user group and other permissions. So the permissions are divided into 3 parts. First is for the owner permission, which is this 3 RWX. Second comes for the group permissions, which is R-X, and third ones come for the others. So as we have discussed that user is known as the owner who has created the file, group who has the access on that file, right? The group members who has the access on that file is known as group, and apart from that all others are known as other. So here we have the this permissions is divided into 3 parts: user, group, and other. Also they have given the permissions in 3 parts, right? Read, write, and execute. So R stands for read, W stands for write, and X stands for execute. You can also denote the permissions in the numerical way, which is called the absolute way, absolute mode. So 4 stands for read, 2 stands for write, and 1 stands for execute. So we have understood that on this directory we have this permission, right? So this is for the user permissions, user or owner permission. This is for the group permissions, and this is for the other permissions. And so group has the read, write, and execute permissions, just like the read, write, execute. Read is the 4, 2, and 1, just like the. So we can combinedly write here 7, R and X. So read and execute we have the 5 and 5. So this is the permission 7, 5, 5. Right? So this is about the understanding the user group and permission in the Linux. So in the numerical way as well as in the symbolic group, right? Okay, now it's come to the changing the file and directory permission in Linux. So how we can change the permissions, right? What we could do, we have a command, right? chmod new permissions and file name. So most of the time what happens that in the corporate worlds or the IT companies, so generally we don't use any symbolic way to change the permission. Just like the on this directory we have this permission, right? And if we want to change the permissions, right, so if we want to give the only user should have the full access, apart from that we should not have anyone else the permissions on the or the access on the directory, right? So we could use 700 on directory 2. So it will change the permissions just like the for the 7 rwx we have added all this r for 4 2 and 1. If I do chmod 500, right, on the directory 2, so it will change it. It will change the r and x, right, read and execute permissions on that only. So in the same manner you can also change on the file as well. chmod 600 on file 2, right? Sorry, because this has the other users permission, so let me use the sudo command here, chmod and 600 and file 2, right? So we have changed the permissions, it has come through the permissions. So let's understand that how we can change the permissions, right? And this is the absolute number way in Linux in which you can mention, just like the if you mention the 0, just like I have given the 000, right? And it's like the chmod 000, this means that it will directly, right, in this directory does not have any permissions. Second is comes to execute. If I mention somewhere, right, if I mention somewhere just like the chmod 101, so it will give the execute permission, execute for the users, this for the group and this for the others, so they are 2. So execute and execute permissions. So this is all about, you can read about the, if you mention 1 execute, it will denote -x, 2 write -w 3 execute plus write -wx, 4 is for read 5 read plus execute, 6 read plus write, and if you mention 7 it will give the full permission to any specific. So this is all about the permissions. Thank you for watching my video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like the video, please share my channel and share with your friends for more similar videos. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for your time. Have a nice day. Bye bye.